Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh's life in pictures, how a middle-class girl with a normal job became royalty. Today she's one of the hardest-working members of the British monarchy, but Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, wasn't born to be a royal. In fact, she had a totally middle-class upbringing, and didn't even cross paths with a member of the royal family until she was in her 20s. But a chance second meeting and a royal romance landed Sophie a spot in the royal family portrait, and she even became one of Queen Elizabeth II's favourite in-laws before the monarch passed. Born on January 20, 1965, Sophie's father was a sales director and her mother was a charity worker, so she had a pretty normal upbringing in Kent, England. Welcome to Royal Pancakes. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell, so you don't miss any news about the British monarchy. She and her older brother David grew up in a 4-bedroom 17th-century farmhouse, and Sophie was educated first at Dulwich Preparatory School, then at Kent College, and finally at West Kent College, where she trained as a secretary. Pictured here at Ascot Charity Race Day in 1995, Sophie Rhys-Jones never dreamed she'd one day be a member of Britain's royal family, and decided to pursue a very unroyal career after finishing her studies. After leaving college, Sophie went into public relations and worked at major firms like Capital Radio, as well as PR companies like the Quentin organization and MacLaurin Communications and Media. Not content with a London office job, she explored career opportunities abroad as well, traveling to Switzerland where she worked as a ski representative, and even spending a year working and traveling in Australia. By 1996, she'd established herself in the public relations industry and decided to start her own agency, RDH Public Relations, which she ran for 5 years with a business partner. Sophie might have continued with it, if not for a chance meeting with her very own Prince Charming. In 1987, Sophie caught the eye of Prince Edward, the youngest son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, for the first time. Back then she was working at Capital Radio, and he was dating one of her friends, so nothing came of it. That is, until the pair crossed paths again in 1993. That time Sophie was working at a promotional photo shoot for his Summer Challenge charity fundraiser, and Edward was single. Sparks flew. Soon after they were an item, but Edward worked hard to keep his new romance on the down low at first. Edward knew Sophie would be caught up in a media circus the moment their romance was made public, especially if the press knew how serious he was about her. In December 1993 he wrote to British newspaper editors denying rumours that he planned to marry Sophie, a move that was practically unheard of from such a senior royal at the time. Edward asked the media for privacy both for himself and for Sophie, who did her best to continue life as usual while also dating one of the most recognisable men in the country. Royal author Ingrid Seward, who wrote Prince Edward, claimed the couple almost split when Edward got cold feet a year into their romance, after realising it was a serious relationship that could lead to marriage. Thankfully, they stayed together. Edward finally popped the question in December 1998, while he and Sophie were holidaying in the Bahamas, and announced their engagement on January 6, 1999. It's believed that Queen Elizabeth II was already very fond of Sophie, so she was more than happy to give Edward permission to marry her. Their engagement announcement took place on grounds of St. James's Palace, where reporters got their first glimpse of Sophie's stunning 18-carat white gold engagement ring. The sparkling Garrard and Company piece featured a 2-carat oval diamond flanked by 2 heart-shaped gemstones and reportedly cost Edward £105,000, approximately 200,000 Australian dollars. Unfortunately, the couple faced their first royal scandal before they even said "I do." Cara Noble, one of Sophie's former friends and work colleagues, sold photos of the bride to be sunbaking topless during a work trip to UK tabloid The Sun. Sophie was devastated. Buckingham Palace reacted to the scandal swiftly, calling the sale of the photos premeditated cruelty and making a formal complaint to the Press Complaints Commission. The Sun editor at the time, David Yelland, issued an apology. He said, "We clearly upset Miss Rhys-Jones. I have therefore decided to apologize to her and to the palace." Noble was subsequently sacked from her position as co-host of Heart 106.2's breakfast show.